అంటే స్టార్ట్ చేద్దాము సార్. యా సార్, యాక్చువల్లీ మీ స్పీచ్లో ఇందాక చెప్తున్నట్టు సినిమా స్టార్టింగ్ ఆ సీక్వెన్స్తోనే ఒక థ్రిల్ అనేది తీసుకొచ్చి కూర్చోబెట్టేశారు సినిమాలో అని చెప్పాలి. అండ్ రియల్లీ సర్ప్రైజ్ టు సీ ద ట్రైన్ సీక్వెన్స్ సార్. అసలు అది ఎన్ని రోజులు పట్టింది, ఆ సెటప్ మేకింగ్ ఎలా పట్టింది? సో ఐ రియలీ వాంట్ టు నో వాట్ హ్యాపెండ్ బిహైండ్ ద స్క్రీన్, బిహైండ్ ద కెమెరా టు గివ్ సచ్ అండ్ వండర్ఫుల్ అవుట్పుట్. ఒక్కసారి అవును సార్, నేను స్టార్ట్ చేసేస్తున్నాను, ఎందుకంటే ఎస్పెషల్లీ ఆ సీక్వెన్స్ చూసిన తర్వాత అందరికీ చాలా ఇట్స్ లైక్ అమేజింగ్ అనిపించింది. అందుకని ఒక్కసారి దాని గురించి ఖచ్చితంగా అడగాలని నేనే అడిగేస్తున్నా.
That was a short, we had to rehearse for 13 days. So we rehearsed 13 days and we shot 2 days. And we were supposed to shoot further also, but we had an accident and we lost one of our fight union members. In that there was an accident, we lost him, and so we had to stop the shoot, and whatever that we see is not what was supposed to be the final one. But we never expected an accident like that to happen, but it happened, and it was a very big loss for the whole unit and the family and friends of the fighter. It was a big loss for all of us, so we had to stop. So but when I thought we should have that sequence, and by the way, the budget of that one sequence was thrice the first budget I told for the whole film. It was really expensive. So when we had to build one actual bridge, and because it had to like withstand the weight of real compartments were put on it, and then we rehearsed for. Initially I thought that maybe I can shoot it in parts, like 3-4 shots, but somehow we all had the confidence of pulling it off, and then we slowly had to do it. It was again the talents of the operators are from Hyderabad. So gimbal operators came from Hyderabad. Shiva and Achut, those were the two guys who did it. And the gimbal is operated through, like, the signals used to get cut if there are more mobile phones. So like every person there on the unit, like 1,000 people were there on the sets, everybody should turn off the mobile phones and put it aside, and then we had to coordinate. So slowly we were rehearsing, like block by block, and all my ADs who had already done films came to work on that. So I need to thank all of them for that. So they all came and they took over certain portions, like, so one person was coordinating the action until this person jumps from the train, and then from there to the next train one person was taking care, and then the camera, how the camera should move and where it should be carried over, that was decided by someone else. And then finally the camera going up, we put a stunt person on a rig and we pulled him up on a rope like 150 feet, and then he was holding the camera and it was operated. So it just to get this idea, the blueprint of the movement, camera movement, it took 4 days, and from there we rehearsed for 9 more days, and last 5 days we rehearsed with like 1,000 people, so all inclusive 1,000 people, and then we went for the shoot. It was a very ambitious thought, but everybody were there and they gave their best to make it happen. Thank you.
అలాంటి పిచ్చ ఒకళ్ళకు ఉండాలి, ఉంటేనే అందరూ కలుస్తారు.
అరవింద్ గారు
చెప్పండి.
ఎప్పటి నుంచో మీరు వెట్రిమారన్ గారు ఫాలో అవుతున్నారు, అతని సినిమాలు చూస్తున్నారు, ఫాలో అవుతూ వస్తున్నారు. అయితే గీతా ఆర్ట్స్ నుంచి కానీ మీకు కానీ ఎప్పుడైనా టాలెంట్ ఉన్న చోట ఎప్పుడు మీరు ముందుంటారు వాళ్ళని ఎంకరేజ్ చేయడానికి.
అలాంటిది ఇన్నేళ్ళు వెయిట్ చేసి తెలుగులో అతను డైరెక్ట్ చేయాలని ఆలోచన మీకు రాలేదా? లేదా ఆయన తెలుగు సినిమాలు చేయాలని ఆయనకి ఇంట్రెస్ట్ లేదా?
లేదండి, నేను అడిగానండి, ఆయన్ని అడగకుండా వదలలేదు. నేను சொல்லுங்க సార్.
Actually, after Adukalam, I had come and met Allu Arjun. Allu Arjun had met me in Chennai also. So he was telling me, sir, I want to come to Tamil. So if you are interested, you tell me a story. I told him, Vada Chennai at that time. There is one role that was a very powerful role. Now I had rewritten it. The film that is there is not what I had those days in mind. So there was another character, and I told him that it will be a very nice character. But then that didn't happen, and then I came to Hyderabad also, to their office, and I told script. And then I had met immediately after Adukalam only, I had met Mahesh Babu also at that time itself. And then after Asuran, post-lockdown, I have met NTR and we are talking. So it is bound to happen, but you know, I take some time to make film. It takes a long time for me to finish one film and move on to the next. That is the problem. Otherwise, we want to try.
Your first Telugu film, NTR or Allu Arjun?
Don't put on spot.
Yeah, tell me.
That time will have to tell, please. But
Multi-starrer?
maybe we really don't.
Sir, you're Tamil, you're a great director, sir. Sir, why are you choosing comedian Soori in constable character?
I just told you because I actually can't deal the pressures of making a commercially successful film like all the time. Like in the sense, keeping that in mind, and nowadays it is wherever we go, we are talking about the 100 crore club, 150, 200, 300. You know, that makes me nervous. When people started saying that Asuran 100 crore, it collected globally 100 crores and all. No, it was all inclusive, the collections all inclusive. So that made me, I didn't want to fall into the trap of going behind that mark, like, you know, 100, 200, 300, 400. So I am scared. And the kind of films that I make, they are films that might not be those kind of typical films. So I just wanted to get myself out of that stress. So I thought I'll do a small, simple film. And I had already spoken to Soori about doing a film a few years ago.
Yeah, that's why I said I thought
I'll do a small, simple film. And when I wanted to do a film with Soori, he has an earnestness about his demeanor, his presence. There's one simpleness and earnestness to his presence. I thought that would lend itself good for this character. And also, while writing, I write as the film goes. So as the film gets made, I make changes in my writing. So his earnestness added to the character, and the character required an earnestness like what he has on screen.
Already for National Award director, you are you next Oscar? Are you planning next film, this film, or anything?
No, see, I always say we don't make films for awards. We make films for the people from where the film is made. You know, I make Tamil films from the Tamil land with the Tamil people in it, which means the film is meant for the Tamil audiences.
when they accept the film, then that is the priority. The second priority is, I always tell that I get back my money for my producer in this film, I get my next film. If to do something better the next time. If I don't get my producer the money back in this film, I might not get another film. So I am, that is my second priority. See, it's like when you go in to eat a dinner or a lunch,
the awards are not the staple. Awards are like the desserts, like the finally what you eat. It's a nice thing, like a pat on your shoulder. You say, okay, well done, boy, you've done a good job. Like, you have to push yourself further. That is what I feel awards are. For the kind of films that I am making. I am making films, mainstream films, with some amount of sensibilities and sensitivities. So for that kind of films, I feel the target audience are the mainstream audiences. When the mainstream audiences accept the film, then that is the first award. When the producer gets the money, that's the second award. Then the third is all the international and national recognition. That's it.
Vidula part 2 shooting are started or completed? Or part 2 also director release in guitars also?
No, we have finished the film. We have finished the film. The film is completed. But with the kind of acceptance and the expectation and all of that that is there around the film, we are going to shoot another 10 days for the film. That's all. We're done with the film.
Bhavani Sre. Your character is very nice.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Director చెప్పినప్పుడు audience point of his nude character. What is the accepted immediately subject narration? He accepted immediately. Nude character and audience
No,
point
I
of view.
mean, I did have little hesitation, but he handled it in a very sensitive way. And obviously, I was wearing something while I was shooting the scene. And I think we should just go with the flow of the film instead of seeing it that way, because it has to say something. And that really has an impact. So that's how I saw it, sir.
Vetrimaaran, sir. Vetrimaaran, sir. Sir, we Telugu people love you a lot and your films. We have been hearing a lot about your film with to NTR. What kind of film can we expect when you are a powerhouse and he is a powerhouse? When both of you are working together, what kind of film can we expect?
See, if you ask my actors and my producer, they'll tell you, I will not know what I'm going to shoot tomorrow, tonight. So, I will go to the set and look at my friend Mani. He works with me. He's a director himself, but he will work with me. Also, he always works with me. I'll look at him and say, Macha, inge vandu adu mari irundha nalla irukulla. He'll look at me and say, okay, we'll do it. So, so I will say, like, the previous day he would have asked me, okay, can I bring like 200 people? I'll say, no, why do we need 200? 50 will be enough, man. The next morning, I will go there and look at the place and say, I think 200 people will be right here. Then he'll look at me and say, okay, give me one last time, I will organize it. So, I really don't know what I will do tomorrow, today. So, we actually don't know what is going to come out of the collaboration, but I'm sure that the collaboration will make sense to me, and I will not collaborate just for the star value or the combination value. I will only collaborate for a content that will demand a star like him. So that much I can say.
Sir, one more thing. We Telugu people always admired your films. And Vijay Sethupathi, sir, he is like our own actor. But when I watched the film Vidula, one question struck in my mind. How is the film still relevant? Because you are in the film it is shown as you are maybe a bit of glorification to the rebels, and our forces are shown in the poor light. Things were like that earlier, but things have changed drastically in the recent years. How it is still relevant? Because as a filmmaker, you have some responsibility to the society.
Can I answer this? That is why he has taken it as a period film.
Sir, period.
Probably after that, the police force would have more developed, more increased, and more nearer to the people. We are not talking about the police of today. That time, those things were there. There are, even in Srikakulam district, how Naxalites were there, how people were there, and how people were tortured was there in the history. You cannot erase it. You cannot erase it from the memory of people. But it belongs to those days. And that's why he has taken those days and shot it.
సార్ బట్ అరవింద్ గారు ఇప్పుడు గవర్నమెంట్ కూడా కొంత బుక్స్ కానీ ఇలా ఇటువంటి బుక్స్ కానీ బ్యాన్ చేశారు. ఎందుకంటే మీరు చెప్పినట్టు ఇట్స్ ట్రూ, ఇట్స్ హిస్టరీ, బట్ స్టిల్ అటువంటి బుక్స్ లేకపోతే ఇంకొకటి లిటరేచర్ అవైలబుల్గా ఉంటే ఇట్ క్యాన్ అట్లీస్ట్ కొంతమంది మీద బ్యాడ్ ఎఫెక్ట్ ఉండొచ్చు అని చెప్పే కదా బ్యాన్ చేసింది. సిమిలర్ కదా ఇక్కడ కూడా కేసు, హిస్టరీ బోత్ ద కేసెస్లో హిస్టరీ. ఏదండి
షిండ్లర్స్ లిస్ట్?
లేదండి. ఇప్పుడు
షిండ్లర్స్ లిస్ట్ అనే సినిమా చూసారా మీరు?
లేదండి.
మీరు ఒకసారి చూస్తే అది రెండో ప్రపంచ యుద్ధం, సెకండ్ వరల్డ్ వార్ అప్పుడు జరిగింది. ఆ షిండ్లర్స్ లిస్ట్ అనే సినిమా చూస్తే ఎంత కిరాతకంగా అప్పుడు ఉన్నారు అనేది ఫ్యాక్ట్. ఆ ఫ్యాక్ట్ని ఈనాడు చూపిస్తున్నాం కనుక దానికి సోషల్ రెస్పాన్సిబిలిటీకి దానికి సంబంధం లేదు అని అంటున్నాను.
Sir, Arvind Garki, see, Schindler's List, I think Steven Spielberg, right? Yes. That is a true biopic, I guess. There is a film made on Hitler. Whereas this is a fiction, I guess. I think in the beginning of the movie, you have put it as a fictional, right? So when it is fictional, you are saying...
I think it is also an unofficial remake of LTT Prabhakaran. I don't know if I'm true, because I can see lots of instances. And one more thing, you've been getting back-to-back national awards. I think 5 so far. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is there a kind of template if you keep making these kind of movies with particular template, where we'll get national awards? Is that so? Is that how it works? I'm sorry, I don't know. I'm just trying to know. And one more thing. One more question. This is fictional, right? This is not a biopic of anybody.
See, I think your first question I answered previously. I answered previously. I'm not. I really am not making films for awards. I make films for people, from the people. From the ground, I make films. Also, I think I also have to clarify something. Without knowing history, and every art form is the reflection of the society. Without something from the society, it cannot come in art. So there is something that is reflected, and it's a meditative reflection of whatever that has happened at some point, some given point in time, at some part of the world. And why do we study history? History is to learn and evolve. You make a mistake, you tell your next generation, see, you have made a mistake. They have made a mistake. Let's not make this mistake. Or, we have made the mistake, you guys don't make this mistake. Or, now, if it's a good thing, see, our ancestors did something great like this. So, we should learn it. And we should pass it on to the next generation. Without the remembrance, without the history, there is no society, there is no culture, there is no tradition, there is no freedom. So history is the essence. Like, you are learning and you are passing on. That is why stories are important. Stories are folklore, are which the subaltern narrative is set. So this is that kind of a narrative.
And the short film that this film has been adapted from, was that based on any real incident?
No, what I said in the first disclaimer stands true.
Soori. So we saw the films in that characters and comedy characters. Now you are became a hero. So next you are continue that characters, or are you looking for the next hero film?
Okay. After no time, outside யோசிச்சு to வந்து நான் தெலுங்குல I'm telling. ஓகே, இல்லை அது நான் எக்ஸ்பெக்ட் பண்ண முடியாது அது. ஸோ நான் காமெடியனாக இருந்தேன், இவ்வளோ நாள் நான் காமெடியனாக வந்தேன். ஸோ தமிழ் சினிமா பிக் டேரக்டர் வெற்றிமாறன். ஸோ நான் எதிர்பார்க்கவே இப்படி ஆப்பர்ச்சுனிட்டி கிடைக்கிண்டு. ஸோ இந்த படம் கிடைச்ச விருதுல வந்து இன்னைக்கு டோட்டல் பீப்புள்ஸ் மக்கள் எல்லாருமே வந்து ஒரு காமெடியன் இவ்வளோ டோட்டல் சேஞ்சா. ஸோ அப்படின்னு எனக்கு ஒரு பெரிய லக்கு. ஓகே, ஆனால் திருப்பி கண்டினியூவாக நான் இப்படி தான் போவேன் அப்படின்றத நான் முடிவு பண்ண முடியாது. ஆனால் இந்த வாய்ப்பை நான் தக்க வைக்கணும். நான் அதுக்கு நான் ஒரு முயற்சி பண்ணணும். நான் எதுவும் இதுக்குமே காமெடின்னு
ஓகே ஓகே 10 days ஒரு 30 days ஓகே அப்படிலாம். ஆனால் எப்படி அப்படி இல்லை. நானும் காமெடியனாக இருந்தாலும் நான் யோசிக்கணும். இது கரெக்டாக முடிஞ்சதுக்கு நான் ட்ரை பண்ணேன். ஏன்னா இது எனக்கு முக்கியமான வாய்ப்பு. எப்போ ஈஸியாக இது பண்ண முடியாது.
இன்னொரு ப்ரொடியூசர்ஸ் எனக்கு வந்து கதை நாயகனா என்னை ஃபிக்ஸ் பண்ணி ஸ்டோரி ஹீரோவை என்னை ஃபிக்ஸ் பண்ணியிருப்பாங்க. ஸோ அப்போ நான் அவங்களுக்கு நான் ரெஸ்பான்சிபிலிட்டி பண்ணணும். ஸோ அவங்களுக்கு நான் மரியாதை கொடுக்கணும். அப்போ இன்னொரு படத்தில் போய் நான் ஏதோ காமெடி பண்ணிட்டு நான் போயிட முடியாது இல்லையா? ஸோ
நீங்களுக்கு நிறைய அப்ரிஷியேஷன் வந்து.
ஸோ எனி கேரக்டர்ஸ் ஓகே ஃபாலோ.
சார் வெற்றிமாறன் சார். So you started as a film, Vidula is a small film. You said that after this one you started with, but when you started as the 2 parts and when the Sethupathi joined this, so you have a scripted for the Sethupathi or?
See, actually, originally before I went for the Recce, before I decided on the location, Bharati Raja sir was supposed to play the role of the mentor. So I did a look test. He's now like, whenever I look at him, enna vandu nee vandu mudiyella vetti motta adikku vechi you made a fool out of me. He is very upset with me for that. He was, until he saw the film. So I went for the location Recce and came down and told him it was a very 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 hard terrain to go to the mountain. It takes 3.5 hours to walk to the hilltop where we shot, but it takes 4.5 hours to go on a jeep. That kind of road it was, really bad roads, like very challenging terrain it was. So I came down and told him, sir, I will not be able to take you there and make the film, sir. He was upset, but then he understood the reason behind it. Then when I was thinking about who else to go for, then we thought of Sethu. When Sethu agreed to do it, then we started rewriting it. When we started rewriting it, slowly that character evolved. It became a bigger character, and when it became a bigger character, and then the journey and the terrain and everything, when we wanted to have all of that into the film, it was getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And then the producer said, I showed him a like 3.5 hour footage after 80 days, 90 days of shoot. Then he said, sir, how much more do we have to shoot, sir? I think nearly half, sir. Then you'll have 7 hours of footage or what? I said, no, sir, we'll have 6 hours footage. And he said, so better, let's do, can you think of doing it as a 2-part? I was very confused because all my films, I have 5.5 hours or 6 hours before I sit for edit. Like Vada Chennai, I had 5 hours and 40 minutes. Adikalam, I had 5 hours and 40 minutes, which is made into 2 hours and 40 minutes. So I was like, initially I didn't know how to deal with it, and then I started working around making it into a 2 parts. So it was a later decision.
Sorry, one more question. There is a report saying that you are met with Junior NTR and narrated the story. It's a true or false?
True.
Narrated the story.
Yes, it is true.
Waiting for the.
Yeah, we discussed couple of ideas, 2-3 ideas. No. I just told no. Yeah.
Strong confirmation మేము వెయిట్ చేస్తున్నాం.
సార్ అరవింద్ సార్, మీకు మొత్తం కూడా ఫారెస్ట్ బ్యాక్గ్రౌండ్ బాగా కలిసి వస్తుంది అనుకుంటా సార్. ఏంటి ఫారెస్ట్ బ్యాక్గ్రౌండ్, ఎందుకంటే బన్నీ గారికి చూస్తుంటేనేమో పుష్ప 2 2 ఫారెస్ట్ బ్యాక్గ్రౌండ్ ఎలా ఉందో మనం చూసాము. కాంతారా చూస్తుంటే ఒక బ్లాక్ బస్టర్. ఇప్పుడు చూస్తూ
నా డైరెక్టర్ని ఫారెస్ట్ బ్యాక్గ్రౌండ్ లో రాయమని అడగాలన్న.
వెట్రిమారన్ సార్, ఇది తమిళ్లో ఎల్టీటీ అనుకొని చేశారా? ఏమన్నా అభ్యంతరం వస్తుందని కథను మార్చారా?
No, there is no reference to any specific organization or leader or movement. But when you see this, when you look at the Vadyar, master, or whenever you hear of it, every ethno-national community is reminded of a leader who fought for the people in their land. I think that means every land has a leader who's fought for the people, who stood by the people.
సార్, మీ సినిమాలో డిస్క్రిమినేషన్, పూర్ డౌన్ ట్రాడెడ్ పీపుల్, ఈ బ్యాక్ డ్రాప్ ఉంటాయి. మీరు రియల్ లైఫ్లో అలాంటి సిచ్యువేషన్ నుంచి బయటకు వచ్చారా? మీరు ఏమైనా చూసారా?
No, we live in a world which is we live in a world where the equity and equality is so far apart. There is like in today's world there is the space for equality is going down more and more. So we all live in such conditions. We either ignore and continue with our lives, or we try to do our small bit to bring in a change. So we all see it, we all have seen it, we all are trying to do our part to bring in a change.
అరవింద్ గారు,
ఎంతసేపు ఉండదు.
ఎన్నో బ్లాక్ బస్టర్ సినిమాలు తీసిన గీతార్ సంస్థ గతంలో బడ్జెట్ సబ్జెక్ట్ మించి లేదా బడ్జెట్ కోరుకున్న ప్రకారం మగధీర లాంటి సెన్సేషనల్ హిట్ కొట్టారు. అప్పుడు మీరు కొన్నాళ్ళ తర్వాత నేను మగధీరకి ఎక్కువ బడ్జెట్ పెట్టి తప్పు చేశాను అన్నారు, కానీ అది నాంది పలికింది ఇక్కడ దర్శకులకి. ఆ తర్వాత బాహుబలి సినిమా వచ్చింది, హై బడ్జెట్ కూడా సినిమాలు తీర్చిన నాంది పలికిన సినిమా మగధీర. సో అలాంటి బ్లాక్ బస్టర్ కొట్టిన గీతార్ సంస్థ ఇప్పుడు మళ్ళీ GA2 సంస్థ స్టార్ట్ చేసి చిన్న చిన్న సినిమాలు చేయడం, మళ్ళీ కాంతార సినిమా, ఎవరో తీసిన కాంతార సినిమా, పాన్ ఇండియా సినిమా మీరు చేయడం, మళ్ళీ ఈ డబ్బింగ్ సినిమాలు చేయడం ఏంటి అసలు? మీరు ఇప్పుడు పాన్ ఇండియా సినిమాలో గీతార్ సంస్థలో పాన్ ఇండియా సినిమా రాదా? ఎందుకు చేయలేకపోవడం కారణం ఏంటి?
త్వరలో ఒక అనౌన్స్మెంట్ ద బిగ్గెస్ట్ తీయబోతుందని వస్తుంది, అది ఇప్పుడు చెప్పలేను. థ్యాంక్ యూ ఆల్.